Farah Swali Nur was an apparent Somalian refugee who arrived in Ireland in 1996. He disappeared on March the 20th, 2005. Later that month, an unidentified male body was pulled from the Royal Canal on Dublin's north side. It was dismembered and in black plastic bags. The body missing its head, which has never been recovered, was identified later as Nur. It soon became apparent that his girlfriend, Kathleen Mahal, and her two daughters were involved in the murder, dismemberment and disposal of Nur's body. One of the most gruesome murders ever committed in Ireland was carried out by a mother and her two daughters. It began as a drinking session on Dublin's city boardwalk on March 2005 and ended in a blood-soaked frenzy of violence later that day. Kathleen Mahal, a 53-year-old mother of 6, was no stranger to drink and drug-fueled violence, but even this was off the scale that day. Nur and Kathleen were in a relationship that was physically violent and often fueled by drink and drugs. Nur wasn't a Somalian refugee as he had previously claimed, but from Kenya. He had also a plethora of convictions. In 1997, he had raped a mentally disabled woman who later gave birth to his son. He had faced 8 charges of both assault and disorder after 2 women claimed he had raped them. The Garda described him as being particularly violent towards women. Kathleen had been in a relationship with Nur since 2001. Kathleen Nur and her 2 daughters, Charlotte, then 25, and Linda, 32, had spent the day drinking in Dublin before returning to their home in Richmond Cottages. They lived in one of the most deprived areas of Dublin. It was hard and a tough life for Kathleen and her daughters. More drink and drugs were consumed and a row broke out between Nur and Kathleen's daughter. Linda claimed he had come on to her and whispered dirty things in her ear. Filled with rage and anger, the daughters attacked Nur with a hammer and a carpet knife. They dismembered the body, cutting off his head, penis, arms and legs with a bread knife. The head and penis have never been recovered. The sisters made several trips to Dublin's Royal Canal, carrying the body parts in black trash bags before throwing them in the water. When the body parts were discovered, the Garda initially thought it was part of some ritual and they even travelled to Africa. Kathleen's ex-husband and the girl's father, John Mahal, was believed to be so shocked, and it was all too much for him when his ex-wife and children were charged with the murder, that he hung himself in Phoenix Park in December 2005. Kathleen fled to England while her daughters Charlotte and Linda were convicted of the murder and manslaughter of Nur. She later surrendered and was given 3 years for her part in the murder. Linda Mahal was released in 2018 and now lives in England. She has no contact with her mother. Charlotte is still in prison and working towards release.